Okay, BugeyeBob back here again. This week we're fixing the screwed up A-pillars that I should have checked out a year ago when I received them. And we're going to weld them together, inner and outers, install them into the car using our ever trusty hot melt glue gun. And so there's going to be lots of flashy lights from the welding, lots of cussing and swearing from me, probably. And we will make progress on this bloody beast. Stick around. I went through my scrap pile and I pulled out one of the old inner and outer A-pillars. And I got looking at it, and I have determined that what they did was they spot welded together the inner and outer A-pillars before putting them on the vehicles. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know that because this piece here, which is the same as this piece here, this is spot welded to this outer piece, which is this piece. Now, there is no way for you to be able to spot weld this if you put the inner A-pillar on first and then put the outer A-pillar on around it. There's no way that you would be able to do this spot welds in here. So that's proof to me that these were spot welded together before they were put on the car. So I am going to go through and spot weld them together and then put them on the car. Now, in talking with one of the guys in the car club, explaining to him the problem I was trying to, running into, trying to get the 4 points on the doors aligned and everything else, he kind of thought about it for a second, and he says, well, he says, what you can always do is just grind down the edge of the door. And I thought for a minute, and I thought, yeah, I've seen that done. I've seen the pros grind down the edge of a door to get the door gap they wanted. I've seen them weld wire coat hangers on to get the width that they wanted. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to go through and weld the inner and outers together. I'm going to repair that one outer that was obviously miswelded, and I'll repair it, and then I'm going to spot weld these things together, and then I'm going to put them on the car and weld them in place, and then I will worry about getting the doors in place. And it may be that once these are in place the way they're supposed to be in place, the doors just go in fine. Never know. The one thing I do know is this is part of the original inner. My new inner is going to be in here, but it's not going to be connected to this. So maybe I can, well, because I can come in here. This will still be open up at the top. I can come in here and maybe weld this up. If I have to, I can bend a piece of steel and get it in there and MIG weld it into place. This is just open up here. Nothing goes in there other than a bolt comes through here. So whatever I do in here, if I can weld that in, I think that that may take care of it. So that's the plan. Fix those pieces, weld them together, fix that one piece, weld the inners and outers together, and then weld the inners and outers to the vehicle, and once that's all done, then I'll worry about getting the doors in place. I thought that I had to do it the other way around, but it doesn't seem to be working out very well that way. So if you look down in here, you can see that the spot weld where these two pieces were spot welded together, this outside piece wasn't tight up against the curve of the inner piece. So that means that this sticks out too far on the car. So I've got to cut these spot welds up through to right about in here, which would be this spot weld. So I've got to cut all of these spot welds here and then pull this piece together tighter and then re-weld them all up. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I've got this curve back, a good 3/16 of an inch on this back edge. So that should tighten that up and make it look a hell of a lot better. Let's get some power to this welder beast here. And you can see on the back side, got good penetration through there. And it's pretty tight. I mean, maybe it's not as perfect as it should be, but I think it may be a 64th of an inch where it used to be a 30, or it used to be 3/16, but to me that's progress. and outer is welded together and ground down the welds. You can hear the hinge plates flopping around. Now, one of the things I have to do though is this lip along here has to be folded over all the way down on both of the pieces. And then once it's installed, this upper lip here has to be folded around onto, let's see if I can get down here. But once it's installed, like so, once this thing is installed, you've got to fold this lip back around this way. And from the looks of things, it looks like I'm going to have to add a little bit more metal on up here. This is the spot where the windshield mount bracket goes on. Bolt goes through here, screw goes into here. So this I've got to hammer down now. This, once the piece is installed, then it's got to be bent over and turned into a tight lip. Now that I'm doing this lip over, I'm going to be using basically any tool I can get my hands on. I'll probably start out with this hammer, then switch over to this one. This hammer is designed specifically for working over these lips on the door skins, like this. So to me, this edge right here seems very much kind of like a door skin edge. So it's got to be folded over exactly the same. So I'm going to use that tool. I'll start out. Got a block of wood underneath of there to hold this down. Now the problem I got is trying to get that bent down right in that little area right there. Let's see here. Shit, that worked better than I thought. Well, that's finest kind, that is. Hell yes. There it is with the lip all folded over. Do. Top to bottom. Could stand to be a little bit tighter right in there, maybe. This little tool here, which I'm beating the hell out of and misusing, is a rivet set for when you put rivets into things. You could probably just use a piece of good tool steel instead, but I don't have a piece of good tool steel, so that's what I'm using. Is that perfect? No. Is it as good as the way the factory did it? No. Is it going to be good enough for this car? Hell yes, it will be. Let's do the other one of these suckers. Well, what I've got left now is going to be to pull them in tight and weld them into place. And when they're pulled in tight, this will straighten up. I need to punch some big holes through from the inside to weld against. And I need to punch holes in these pieces. I need to punch holes in these pieces here so that I can plug weld down on them. Now let's drill some plug weld holes. These don't need to be drilled through because I'll be welding through from this side. These need to be drilled through because I'll be welding through from that side. I'm now going to tack in the passenger A-pillar. Fire in the hole. Well, that's some nasty, stinky shit. It ain't pretty, but it's welded in. Have to grind the welds down and throw some crud on them to protectify them, but it's solid. So there you can see where the welds came through from the inside. You can see where I welded down and got the bottom. And you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plug welds, and then the weld down there. That lines up kind of sort of good, I guess. This is what it looks like on the inside here. My little plug welds all the way up and down. These are the ones that came from the outside. These are the ones from the inside. Grind them down. I'm going to leave this hole down here, and I may put another hole in here so that the air can get through to dry that out if any water comes down inside. The next thing I've got to look at is I should probably weld right up in that corner. I think I'll do that right now. Yep, I'll do that right now. Yes, it is ugly, but it's going to hold, and nobody's ever going to see it, so it don't matter. Okay, the inner and outer A-pillars are in on both sides. I hit them with some primer so that they won't rust. I may not get back to them for a couple of days. I've still got to grind down the welds. I did a test, it looks like I got a little hole there I got to patch up. I did, and I've got some work to do up here. I did a test fit on the door, and I'm not pleased with the way that this curves around in here. So I suspect I'm going to have to use some wire coat hanger or something to build this edge up around to where it fits, and then grind it down and do all that sort of happy stuff. But considering where we started out at with this all rusted out, this all rusted out, this all rusted out inside, basically everything all rusted out, I think we've come quite a ways. So that's going to do it for this video. And maybe the next video will be test fitting the doors and seeing what I've got to do to get this arrangement right. This up in here, this area needs to be leaded in. So even though it's primed, it'll be all stripped off again, and then it will all be leaded in because this is where the windshield frame mounts on. I'm not pleased with the way these gaps turned out down here, but hammer them down, do whatever. These replacement outer sills, I could have spent 6 hours on each one of them trying to get them to fit perfectly. This isn't a concourse quality car. It'll never be a concourse quality car. It's going to be a driver, so may not be driven a lot, but that's what it's going to turn out to be. If anybody else wants to invest $100 grand in it to make it concourse quality, they're more than welcome. But that's not in my budget, so onward and upward. Okay, that wraps it up for this week. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. If you can do it, jump on over to Patreon, sign up as a member over there. It's like, I don't know, $4 or $5 a month, something like that. If you don't want to do that, but you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, There's a link down below where you can go on to PayPal and make a small donation. Make a large donation if you want. All donations greatly accepted. And you can do it as a one-time donation or as a recurring donation. Links down below. Links for Patreon is down below also. You can also check out, occasionally I post things over on Facebook too. Facebook link is down below also. So, I think that kind of wraps it up for this week. Next week, it could be trying to get these bloody doors to fit. Or it could be returning this flexible shape pattern for the part that I got to fix for the back end of the car. So, what do you think it ought to be, folks? I think I ought to take a break from doors and go for the flexible shape pattern myself. Geez, that just looks like a lot more fun than trying to hang doors. But let me know what you think. Make comments. If you think I'm doing things wrong, let me know. You got a better idea? Make a comment down below. Let everybody know. I strongly encourage you. I actually do read every comment. Every single one that people put out there. And y'all haven't been taking up enough of my time on comments yet. So please do that. And anything else I can say? No, I think that's pretty much it. You folks have a blessed day and an absolutely fantastic life. We will see you next week. BugeyeBob, over and out.